All right, good evening. Thank you everyone for joining us. My name is John Race. I am the Senior Program Coordinator with the Orientation Program in the Student Development Programs Office at University of Southern Indiana. We're thrilled to have you on the call tonight and choosing USI for you and your family and your student. We take great responsibility in serving your student and parenting with parents to help your student be successful. So tonight we will be talking about technology and books. So we have guests from our campus store in informational technology. We want to make sure that you feel prepared with the correct tools to be successful once we start school in August. This is our sixth topic in our series. So we will be presenting again every Thursday night. And so this is just a way to help students and parents learn more about campus and ask their questions about the topic. So you can access all the previous ones under usi.edu/orientation. So we have been recording them. So for tonight, we do ask that you keep yourself muted. We ask that you also use the chat feature so you can submit your questions, and we will have a presentation and then also time for Q&A at the end. So I am recording tonight's program just so if anybody was unable to attend, they are able to view it afterwards. So to get started, I would like to introduce the staff that we have with us. So I have two staff from Campus Store. So I'd like them to introduce themselves.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cole Collier. I'm the technology specialist for the USI Campus Store in charge of sales, service, and training.
And good evening. My name is Mike Gelshauser, Campus Store Manager, and I basically oversee everything in the store.
All right. Thank you. And then we have one staff member from the informational technology, or maybe you better are referred to it as IT.
Hello, everyone. I'm Shannon Hain. I am the administrator of Blackboard, our learning management system, and I'm also the administrator for Zoom, our video conferencing system, and I'm also an instructor here on the faculty.
Thank you. And then we have three other guests with us as well. We have two Amigo orientation leaders. I'd like them to introduce themselves by saying their name, year, and also major.
Hello everyone, my name is Mackenzie Dolphin. I am a junior nursing major.
Hi everyone, I'm Katie. I will be a sophomore and I'm a radiology major.
And then I'd also like to introduce our orientation student assistant, so she'll be helping behind the scenes tonight.
Hi, I'm Marina Blackwell. I'm going to be a senior biology major and I am the orientation student assistant.
All right, so we are going to start our presentation. We are going to be sharing the screen, so you will see a PowerPoint presentation pop up, and then we will go through the questions and presentation. So again, if you have any questions before we start, please make sure to submit your questions in the chat feature, and we will be able to answer those as well. So, all right, take it away.
All right, thank you, John. So what I want to speak tonight a little bit about is kind of all of the services that the USI Campus Store offers. And what we've done over the last several years is kind of examine all of those services to see how we could best serve the USI community and certainly incoming students and families. So that's kind of our motto. We really are about experiencing easy. We want to make things as simplistic for you as possible. Everyone has enough stress on their plate, has enough concerns already going on. So that's what we're trying to create at the Campus Store. So just some of the things that we do at the Campus Store at USI. Of course, we are that one-stop bookstore. So we have all those textbooks, course-related materials, and pens, pencils, papers, supplies. We also have a wonderful technology store and all the wonderful logoed USI merchandise as well.
Oops, sorry.
You're okay. So
there we go. Sorry.
So one of the greatest things that I feel like we offer the campus community is that even though we're a relatively small staff of only 10 folks, we have over 100 years of combined service to the university. So what that allows us to do is really serve as a unique resource. So I would encourage you, even if it may not be about specifically textbooks or technology or even apparel, if you have a question and you're not sure how to reach out to, who to contact, give us a shout at the Campus Store. We may not be able to answer that question for you, but I can guarantee we know who to connect you with to get that information. One of the nice things too is that we are 100% owned by the university, so every dime that you do spend in the store supports initiatives campus-wide. When we talk about experiencing easy, one of those things is definitely the university charge account. Instead of students required to have cash in hand to purchase their textbooks or required materials, we've set up an automatic $1,200 for every student, regardless of financial aid status, that they can use to purchase those course materials, textbooks, and supplies they need to ensure academic success at USI. Students also may choose to utilize financial aid towards the purchase of a computer, pending an approval of an in-store process. And what that essentially means is if you're interested in utilizing that payment method, I just have to reach out to the bursar's office and we'll have that discussion and then move forward with that. Very important date, August 1st, it's quickly approaching. That's the start date of the university charge accounts for the fall semester. That's also when online orders will go live for both textbooks and technology this fall. So I would encourage you to order early, ensure that you're getting the best chance of receiving those used books. And we can also ship them directly to your house for a $10 flat fee, or you can always choose free in-store pickup.
What's the loyalty program?
Actually, that's a great question. Mike, would you mind chiming in about our great loyalty program?
Sure. For X amount of dollars, and I'm not for sure exactly what it is right now, but you earn rewards, you earn points. And then once you get to so many points, you can redeem those for a gift card in the USI campus store. We get quite a few students who say, for example, the dental hygiene kits and some other nursing kits, those are easily hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars that they can accumulate right away. Now, not the points, not the dollars, not the gift card, but when they spend that much money, it accumulates rather quickly. So it is something that would be a good idea on the student's part to sign up for the loyalty program, get something back from the money you spend.
All right, thanks, Mike. So with textbooks, you kind of fall into several specific categories. Of course, new textbooks, those are new editions. Those are ones that, faculty members have selected, maybe they've updated that information, but those new books we obviously have available in the campus store. We always try to provide as many used books as possible, and we source those from purchasing used books from the student body, but also purchasing from wholesalers, and you can save a considerable amount by opting for the used textbooks. The cheapest way to really get those course materials are going to be through rentals. Now, rentals are in fact that. You do have to turn them in at the end of the semester, and you want to be sure that you never get those wet. But you pay a much smaller fee for the use of those semesters and then turn those in at the end. If any of your courses happen to require ebooks, access codes, or even if you'll come across a first day access course or an FDA course, all that information is going to be available on the campus store site, and you'll see all that pull up on Blackboard as well. All right, so some of the technology aspects that we offer through the campus store is our free configuration and setup. And what that does is we ensure that every machine is connected to campus Wi-Fi, get their student email accounts set up. We can configure their Microsoft Office suite, we get that installed and activated, and then make sure any operating system updates that they may need at that time. So that way, when they leave the store, they're really up and running and ready for class right there. Another thing we do to help offset the cost of that initial technology is we do have a trade-in program as well. And it's actually the exact same trade-in partner that brick and mortar Apple stores use, so you know you're getting a good quote for your trade-in. Of course, we offer free one-on-one training. So if you've got a student or that's curious about a new Mac operating system or is curious about a new Windows operating system, or even if they've seen something in the classroom that they're curious about, they're always free to stop by the campus store to set up one of those free one-on-one training or tutorial appointments. We also have the ability to make recommendations based on major. So, and I'm sure some of our orientation leaders can speak to this, there's kind of a different computing requirement for us, let's say an engineering student versus a nursing student or College of Nursing and Health Professions student. So what we've done is develop relationships across the campus to ensure we can get the right recommendation that's going to fit your student's major and course of study.
Cool. There was a question. How could students and families ensure that they would get the student discount for laptops? Is that the price that the campus store promotes, is on the website, or is that through another way?
Thank you, John. So academic pricing or education discounts used to be very clear cut. Unfortunately, with the change of the Apple program in the last 3 to 6 months, we are not exactly on education pricing for all models. For example, the MacBook Air starts at $929 through our store, whereas education pricing is $899 for that specific model. Now, the vast majority of MacBook Pros, 15-inch Pros, iPads, and laptops, the upper end, are going to be that education exclusive pricing, but we're right there next to that EDU price point as well. And I think, John, to answer more specifically, that is what the price that we have posted in store. And once we get everything updated on the website and live for sales on August 1st, that is what they're going to be seeing on the website.
Thank you.
So just some of the other things that we do through the campus store that serves the kind of university community as a whole is textbook buyback. Now, regretfully, we've had to suspend that during the last several months, of course, because of COVID-19. But we hope to resume that textbook buyback program as early as December of this year. I think we may have the last fax machine on campus. So if you or your student needs to fax anything, they can do so through the UPS, through the campus store, where we also offer UPS shipping as well.
And stamps.
And stamps. Thank you, Shannon.
I saw it on the list, but I do go get stamps from you guys all the time, so.
I'm actually surprised how many stamps we sell.
So does anybody have any questions for the campus store about anything that you saw?
So we got two that came through. So when you're talking about textbooks, when will the list for books be available for students?
Hey, Mike, I'll let you take that one as well, if you would, please.
The list is ongoing, meaning it's online right now. You can look up your books for your classes. You just cannot order anything until August 1st, and that's when everything goes live. But as the book adoptions have been coming in, about 15, 20, 30 minutes later, it's already on the website for people to view.
All right. And we are going to have a link to that in the chat in a little bit. Another question is, with the $1,200 billed, what if the student doesn't use that? Can you talk a little bit more about that process, how it gets billed, and do they lose it if they don't use it? How does that all work?
So it's not a credit that we apply to student accounts. What it is kind of an upward limit. So if a student needs to purchase their textbooks and the grand total for their semester supplies comes to, let's say, $550 even, that is the amount that would be billed to their tuition. They're not refunded that excess amount because it's not a credit line. It's really just a convenience account that we offer students, so that way they're not having to come up with that cash in hand right away. As we know, some financial aid packages disbursements can range sometimes as late as mid-September. So we definitely don't want any students starting out their academic year without the materials they need. So that's why we do that university charge option.
Thank you. And then are there any incentives for being offered by Apple this year or any of the computers? So have you noticed any special rates or any educational pricing for any particular brands or models this year?
So the two brand lines that we do carry in the store are Dell and Apple products. The Apple Back to School special this year is when students purchase a qualifying Mac, and that is going to be all of the current generation models and the iPad Air and iPad Pro models, students can receive a free pair of AirPods. So because we were a little late getting back to campus in July, we're still getting that up and running. But by that August 1st date, we will have that up on the website and students will be eligible for that back to school special as well. Dell, on the other hand, they are offering a $100 rebate this year. It is a mail-in rebate, but part of our setup process that we offer if you're purchasing a Dell machine through the store is that we walk you through that process to make sure you get that payment set up. That way you don't have to worry about that after the fact.
And then speaking of Dell, say someone would purchase a computer at another store, but then they would need support or service on campus. Is that something that they could bring to the campus store?
So we really, it depends between the campus store and the IT help desk. Now the IT help desk is a student staffed full service help desk that's free to students no matter where they purchase their machine, no matter what type of machine it is. Because we are no longer an Apple authorized service provider like we once were, I would really direct those IT support issues all to that help desk. But of course, if it's a software troubleshooting, I'm always happy to help in the store.
All right, and then is there ever occasion that you may purchase a book that it said it's for example, English 101, but then the professor uses a different book? Like, so I guess the family's asking how accurate are the book lists? Do professors ever change it? And if that happens, are they able to return it and exchange it? Any experience or insight on that situation?
So students are eligible for a 100% refund through the first full week of classes, as long as that book is in like new condition and they have the receipt. So if there is any change in that, of course, we work right with directly our faculty members, and we hope that there's not any last minute changes that we haven't been informed of. But in that case, once your student would go to class, that's what we do recommend. In fact, if you are purchasing a package that may be like sealed in plastic or cellophane, you definitely want to go to class first before you open that. That way, no matter what happens, if you do need to return it, you are eligible for that 100% refund through that first full week.
Okay, great, thank you. And then somebody was asking about specific technology for programs. Is that listed somewhere on the website, or do they need to talk to their faculty member or advisor about getting specific computer or programs for their major?
So the vast majority of students, really the only specialized software that we recommend, and even Shannon can maybe speak more to this, is the Office 365 package, which the university provides to every student, regardless of where they purchase their machine. So even if you've already got your student set up with a computer, they can still download that full Microsoft Office 365 package and run the full suite of programs: Word, PowerPoint, Excel, OneNote. Publisher and Access also come with the Windows version, if that's, yep, Shannon's shaking her head. So
Yeah, I'll talk
right.
a little bit about that and how many times they can download it, and even how they can get the apps and log into them. So we do offer a lot of stuff for our students.
Absolutely.
So, well, let's, there's a couple more questions that have come through, but let's pause there just because this would be a good transition so we can hear from Shannon and information technology. So continue submitting your questions if you have them, as they may pop up, but we'll have Shannon go through her part, and then we'll have some more time for questions at the end. So Shannon, take it away.
So the first thing that my boss, the CIO, would like me to talk to you guys about is password security. And it has become so important, and more important than ever. And I in fact wrote a paper in a grad class this summer about how being together alone in our search to connect with each other, we started doing a lot of things like filling out a bunch of crazy surveys on Facebook and things that hackers were then using the answers to get our passwords. So it's really important that you really think about what you're doing. And so sometimes students will get emails, and even you parents will get emails in your like Gmail accounts, offering you job offers or secret shoppers. We've had several students that have come to us because their passwords have been compromised and somebody's holding their data hostage and telling them they have to pay $300, things like that. So don't ever respond to those emails. And our students, especially if they get any kind of weird email in their USI email, always forward it to the IT department, and we can tell you if it's a valid email or if it's not. Oh, usually it's not. And we'll set our spam filters to try to catch it. So we try to do a really good job, but sometimes they get past us. When you click on email attachments or click through links that are in a suspicious email, those might put some malware onto your computer, or it might let them steal some of your information. So it's really important that you don't click on those links. If you're not sure, don't click on the links. And this I made the comment about this Facebook games, because if you just think about all those you've filled out and then think about all the passwords that you've created. Now, my boss didn't put it on his slide here, but there's a website, Have I Been Pawned, PWNED, I think is how it is. If you go to that website, you can put in your passwords and see if it shows up on any list. I did that, and it was really funny because none of my passwords showed up on any list. And then I put in a password for my highest level administrative account here on USI, and it had 4 hits. So all my personal passwords were safe, but one of my administrative passwords had showed up on as compromised on some sites. So it's really important that you don't share your password with anyone. And I know so often students come to me because they were dating somebody and they shared it with them, and now they've done some stuff to them. So don't give it to your boyfriend or your girlfriend because they don't need your password either. So that's really important. We were talking about computers, but we also offer computer labs here on campus. We have them all over the library, the Rec and Fitness Center. We also have loaner laptops and PCs and iPads that students can check out. But we really recommend that you bring your own PC or tablet to campus. Now, you should keep in mind that a tablet won't always do all the things that you want it to do, but it can do a lot. And because we do have Office 365, which we'll talk about, you can download the apps for your tablet, for your Chromebook, and then you can save those files into OneDrive. So there are workarounds. And if you're ever concerned or you want to know how to make your tablet do the best that it can or function as highly as possible, you can always bring it to the IT help desk. And I think Cole would also be able to kind of help you, especially if you bring your iPad. He probably knows all of the tricks already to trick it out for you. So I think that you should always consider purchasing, even if it's an inexpensive laptop, to have your own laptop that you can rely on and having your own area of study. Now, we have some recommendations, but we'll usually send you to the campus store to recommend laptops, because the campus store provides Apples, but they provide Dells, and usually they provide at least the base level of everything we suggest you have, and then it just goes up, right? What they provide for you. So they have several different options for you to choose from. And I think you guys also sell iPads, don't you?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, do you sell any other tablets?
We do not.
Okay, just iPad tablets.
Correct.
And so on campus, we do have Wi-Fi, and we have a hard connection. So if any of your students are living in campus housing, they will have access to the campus housing wireless network. They'll also have access to a port to log in, and they can connect to the hardwired. So they'll need a cable to do that, but they can also use our hardwired. All of our computer labs are on a hardwired connection. So those are the ideal places to take exams. My boss wrote, don't bring other Wi-Fi devices on campus, such as Wi-Fi printers or hotspots, because they cause interference with the campus Wi-Fi and degrade the services for everyone. We hear that a lot, because if you have a wireless printer, and some of the students on the call might be able to attest to this, if you live in campus and there's a wireless printer, we'll get calls like, there's a rogue wireless printer that keeps kicking me off of my exam. And we'll send our network team out there to shut it down or to take it off the network, because they take so much of the bandwidth, and everybody's streaming Netflix, which we did get a download server for Netflix recently, so that's good. But before, it's like everybody's trying to game or take exams online, and then you have Wi-Fi printers and hotspots outside of your phone that are crashing the system. So it's not allowing other people to do like coursework that they need to do. Cole mentioned our IT help desk. We have it staffed 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday, and you can call at 812-465-1080 or walk in, but as it says, walk-in access is more limited due to social distancing. So you should plan to call first, and then they'll make an appointment for you, so there's no more than a certain amount of students there at any given time. But we do have a computer repair service that's operated by the help desk, and it's all students, and we vet those students. So those students are all CS or CIS majors almost exclusively, and a lot of them know a lot of stuff. And so we don't do hardware. So if you break a screen, they don't replace screens. I know some students have tried to make side deals or whatever, but as an official capacity, they don't replace screens. And I don't think you guys do either, right, Cole?
No, and that was part of the service providership that unfortunately we no longer can offer. But if it's an Apple device, though, I mean, because I'm still an Apple certified Mac tech, you know, I'm always happy to provide kind of at least a first point of contact for a service. But if it is a hardware repair issue, like Shannon said, we're going to refer you probably to an external service for that.
Now, with our PCs outside of the Macs, students have replaced, they have replaced the Wi-Fi cards for students, or if their hard drive has gone bad, they've put in a new hard drive for them. Usually, though, the most cases that students get are somehow their PC has now been riddled with viruses. So our guys will clean up all of your systems. If they're having trouble downloading Office 365, or if they're having trouble getting connected to their Pearsons or another third-party person that they need for their coursework, or if they're having trouble with JMP, that's a statistics program that is provided to all of our College of Business students. Our help desk students can walk them through all that, and they can get them set up. Just like Cole said, they can also get them connected to Wi-Fi, help them put their email on their phone, just about anything that they need, they can do. They can troubleshoot VoiceThread, which is one of the things that our students will be using, or Panopto. And if they can't answer it, it's just like Cole said, they can get you to who can answer it. So let's see. Sorry, I've skipped through. Office 365. Cole mentioned that USI's Office 365 is free, and that includes our Eagle Mail and the calendaring, OneDrive, pretty much anything. Like Yammer is something that one of our history professors started using, and that is also part of the Office 365 suite. Zoom is also something that we include for all of our students. But the cool thing about USI's Office 365 is that if you have multiple devices, you can download it on up to 6 devices, the full Office 365 suite, and you have it as long as you're a student here. So don't purchase it. And that is something I highly suggest, is if you buy a computer and you don't buy it from Cole where he's helping you set it up, but you bring it from Best Buy or something, don't sign up for the free trial. In fact, let's remove the free trial and download your Office 365, and then you'll be set from the go. Right,
Thank
Cole?
you, Shannon. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Because we see that so often. And I go into all the UNIV 101, which is the orientation class for new freshmen, and at least 2 or 3 students in every single section is having trouble with their Office because they have the free trial that it keeps trying to log into, and we have to unload it and then load Office 365 for them. So I encourage you, don't do it, and don't buy a computer that gives it to you at an extra cost. You don't need it, because we give it to you free, and every app you could use, we have. And just like it says the mobile apps can be installed on iPhone or Android, you can install those on your phones or your tablet or your Chromebook, and then you'll just log in with your Eagles email address and your password, and it will log you right in. And so me, all the time, I'll be on my phone and I'll need to save something and I'll type it up on my Word app, and then I'll just save it in my OneDrive. And then when I come log into my OneDrive, it's on my computer and I finish it and print it out. So you do have access to those. Also, we have per page printing at USI. So print jobs can be sent to our print system and released at any printer. And here it gives you the emails that you send those to. You will often see in a computer lab, you'll see like a printer and it has something where you can release it. You send an email to it. You say you want to print. It asks for your email, and then you go up and you find your name and you push it and release it. And I hope I've got these pricing right. I think it's 10 cents per black and white copy. And then there are very few color copies, but I think it's 25 cents. Do you know, Marina? Unmute and say it.
I think
15?
It's 50.
Oh, it's 50?
In like the library and stuff, it's been about 15 cents for colored paper.
For color, okay. So 15 cents for color, 10 cents for black and white, as I believe that to be. And if you never release that, you don't get charged for it. The Blackboard Learning Management System, that's what I run. That is what we use to monitor all of coursework here at USI. So every single student's Blackboard will have a course shell for every single course that they're enrolled in. However, that doesn't mean that they'll see it, because not every one of their instructors may use Blackboard. Now, I'm not sure that's going to be the case much anymore as we move forward in the changing landscape that is COVID-19. But if a student doesn't see their course, they can always email it@usi.edu and put in a ticket, and we'll tell them if the course just hasn't been made available. But they're going to use the LMS to turn in all of their homework. And I was just telling John before this, we're going to be having some virtual trainings. We're going to have some self-paced online trainings, and we are going to still do some in-person trainings in UNIV 101. So they will get to know how to use Blackboard. Also, Cole briefly mentioned First Day Access, and I put the link right here to the First Day Access website, which is part of the Campus Store website. It's a new textbook model we have, and it converts books into digital course materials, and it is truly the lowest cost that they can get from those publishers. And I've been using it in my own courses, and I can tell you we've converted a lot of faculty especially faculty who are using Pearson's or McGraw-Hill, because those access codes, Mike can tell you, can cost upwards of $100. And they're usually running between like $40 and $60, depending on what materials the instructor used. And that is a link right inside their Blackboard. Now, just like Cole talked about how they get a $1,200 credit, or not a credit, but they'll give them up to $1,200 they can put on. Those books, however, don't get charged to the Campus Store. If it's a First Day Access, the students can click on it and accept the materials, or they can click on it to not accept the materials to opt out of the program. But if they click on it to accept the materials, then the charge for that gets billed right to their right to their USI account. And so that works out great in the beginning. Where it gets tricky is if a student signed up for a second 8 weeks course, or a course that runs the last 5 weeks of the semester, and they choose to use First Day Access, it will still build to their account. So they need to keep that in mind, because what we hear a lot is that students already spent their refunds, right? And there's no way for them to prepay for those or pre-buy them, because they technically have up until like a week after that class starts to drop the course. So they need to keep that in mind. Once they choose it, it will get billed to their account. So they may still have a bill to pay, even though they may have already got all the refund from their financial aid. So that's, Mike, do you want to add anything to first day access? Wait, I'm going to unmute you. Well, can you unmute you? There.
There you go. No, I think you covered everything very well. Thank you.
Okay. And Zoom video conferencing, that is one thing that we want to keep in mind. Students often will message me saying they're supposed to use Zoom, but they don't know how to get it. All they have to do is click on the icon in their MyUSI, and that will take them to a basic account. They get Zoom 40-minute basic account for up to, they can meet with 3 or more people for 40 minutes, up to 300 people. But they can also meet one-on-one with a basic account for unlimited minutes. And they can also record themselves for unlimited minutes. So it really is a great tool for them, and it's included in their tool set. Panopto is included in their tool set, VoiceThread, and all of those things have an icon within their MyUSI Eagle apps. And this is a bunch of mobile apps. There's the USI mobile app. Our students here might be able to tell you what they use it for, but I think food services and bus routes seem to be the #1 thing that we hear. Anybody want to chime in about the USI mobile app if you find it helpful? No?
Katie or Mackenzie, you want to talk about how using it as a student?
I find the mobile app most helpful for my schedule. So usually the first couple of weeks of the semester, I forget my course number or maybe the exact room where I'm at. So I can just pull it up on my phone and it's right there for me.
So they use it for their schedule as well. And this is what the new kind of mobile apps look like. But any of these mobile apps, any Office 365 app can be downloaded to any device, and you log in with your USI Eagles email address and your password, and it'll be right there for you to use for free. These apps also are apps that can be found at both the Android or Apple Store, so at Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can find the Blackboard app, and this is the icon for the Blackboard app. So many people show me a really old app. This is what the app looks like. This is what the Zoom app looks like. That's a mobile app, and they can sign in with their USI username and password by clicking SSO login. And this is the VoiceThread app. And these are probably the course tool apps that they'll use the most. And then there's this, and I think I'm done. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. And I did have somebody ask me a question. Yes, somebody asked me a question if most kids are carrying cases or backpacks. Everyone has them. Almost every student in my class brings their laptop or iPad or Chromebook with them. You, Marina and Katie and Mackenzie might have a little more insight into that, but I know my students seem to, I'd say 90% of them have a personal device that they carry at all times.
Hey, Shannon.
Yes.
I think you had mentioned that the Office 365 apps can be downloaded and installed on a Chromebook. Is that a new feature?
Yeah, that's the only way the Chromebook will work is if they go to the App Store and buy the app or get the app. Like you can go get the app, but you can't download Office 365's full suite.
Okay.
For the Chromebook, you have to get the mobile app.
Okay, awesome. That's a nice distinction because I did not know that. Thank you very much.
That's how students can use Office 365 on their Chromebook. They have to get the mobile apps.
Okay.
And we learned that because last fall we got a rash of Chromebooks in our UNIV 101s. And so we set up a bunch of them with the apps. Because once they've got the OneDrive app, then it's no big deal. Then they can just keep sending it to the printer, right? So.
All right. Well, thank you for the presentation. Shannon, one of the families was asking to see the contact information. Would you be able to
Yep.
reshare the screen, and we'll keep that up for a minute or two. So please take a picture if needed. And also we will be putting the links in the web in the chat feature too. So again, we have a few minutes left, so we will continue with questions. So if you do have any more questions, please post them in the chat feature. Cole, a couple more book campus store questions came in. So they were talking about ordering laptops. So would you recommend to put an order now, or should they wait till that August 1st deadline or date?
So August 1st is when we're going to go live for the online sales and for the back to school special with Apple, specifically with those free AirPods. But if you know exactly what you're looking for, or you have a pretty good idea of what you're looking for, absolutely send me an email. It's right there up on the, I think it's on the screen right now, at rccollier@usi.edu. And what I can do is essentially fill out a reservation form for you, so that as soon as that store stock arrives in store, then we can get up and set up payment arrangements or utilize that charge account if your student qualifies in that situation.
Great, thank you. Katie, can you tell us about your experience with the campus store? If it's buying books, buying merchandise, if you had to get something repaired?
So I actually used the campus store to buy some of my textbooks new, especially for my biology classes. I had to have the new textbook, so it came with the access code, and it was super easy to use it, and I just charged it to my student account, and then I just paid it off with my tuition.
Oh, thank you. Well, we did have a question about access codes. So Cole, Mike, can you talk about if access code is needed for a class and a book is purchased, used, or rented, does that access code still work, or do you need to buy it separately? How does that all work?
Typically, if access codes are required, sometimes they are sold by themselves. Other times you have to buy them as part of a package because the teacher wants you to have all the components in that package. But often you are able to buy the passcodes or access code separately.
And then Mackenzie, can you talk a little bit about how you're able to find your textbooks? I know sometimes teachers post it on their syllabus. They have that, it might be on Blackboard. They can through the campus store. How have you found your textbooks for classes that you need?
So the best way I find my textbooks, being a nursing major, there's a lot of textbooks for me. I just go to the USI's the campus store's website, and I put in my course number, and it brings up all the textbooks that I need. I believe right now my professors have updated everything, so I can see all the textbooks that I need right now.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
And actually, John, if you don't mind, I'm going to hop in here real quick. So I wanted to explain something maybe a little bit different about the campus store. You know, for our new families and new students, they may not realize it's any different than it has been, but the campus store, in order to help with social distancing, what we're actually doing is we're moving to a counter service model in store. So now all you're going to need to do is bring in, a copy of your course schedule. You can drop that off with us, and then we will have knowledgeable store staff actually pull that book order on your behalf, and we'll get that all set up and ready for you instead of just kind of browsing the endless textbook aisles and trying to locate those yourself. We'll be happy to get that set up for you. And we're also really encouraging everyone to utilize that free in-store pickup for online purchases. And actually, I believe if you order your textbooks, Mike, help me out here, is it before August 17th? We'll also include a 30% off discount code for a future apparel purchase as well.
Correct, yes.
And we did have a question. So sometimes families are browsing online. They had a question, does USI do price match? And then if they don't, what do you see some of the advantages are of purchasing the textbooks through USI campus store?
So regretfully, because we are a university owned and operated store and we don't quite have the buying power of a Barnes and Noble or something big box retailer like that, we cannot offer price matching. But what we do is we've been aggressively trying to add those first day access courses and add more rental titles semester after semester. That way, the materials that you're finding at the USI campus store are the absolutely most affordable that we can provide.
Great, thank you. Katie, going back to you. So Shannon had talked about computer labs on campus. So how have you been able to use computer labs? Are they available? Why have you used them?
So I actually used one in one of my classes. I went to the library and they taught us about all the stuff the library has to offer online, and it was really helpful just because everyone could be in one room together and she could walk around and help us and look at all of our computers.
Oh, thank you. All right, and then another question. So with printing, you can use Flex Money. Mackenzie or Katie, have you had to use your Flex Money for printing or laundry or for other reasons?
I use my Flex Money quite often. I print out my PowerPoint slides for class. It's similar to Munch Money. It's on the same card. You basically send what you want to the computer, releasing it for printing. You swipe your card and put in your password, and then it prints it right off there.
Thank you. So we have a few more minutes left. If anybody has any last questions, please submit those now. So a question came in, and where on the USI app do you find where your textbooks are needed? Shannon, I'm not sure if you're able to walk us through, or if there's a particular spot or one of the students. We may have lost Shannon.
Okay. How I go through textbook selection is usually what happens is I just go to like Google and search USI textbook search or selection. And usually the first link that pops up is the one for it. I also included it in the chat too, so you can access that. And then you go through, it'll take you to this website, and you go through and you add each class that you're going to be taking in the next semester. And then you submit it at the end, and it'll show you every single book that you will need for all of those classes. So you do need to know like course titles, course numbers, and like who is teaching the class. And since those professors are in direct contact with the campus store, they're able to tell the campus store exactly what book they want, exactly what model. So that's also another benefit to getting books from the campus store, is that you're going to get exactly what you need for your classes.
Thank you.
Sorry, I dropped out.
Yeah, I told you it would happen. So, so Marina was just following up about finding textbooks. Are you familiar of an easy way to find it using the USI mobile app, or is it just easier to go through like the bookstore link just to list them out? Are you familiar with any process to using the USI mobile app?
I'm not familiar with being able to search it on the USI mobile app, but I'll check real quick.
Yeah.
I've always just gone through the campus store.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
I'm fairly certain it's only available to generate that actual required materials list is through the actual campus store website. I don't believe you can access that directly through the mobile app.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it says, and I was going to ask Mike and Cole. I am somebody for a couple of my classes, I don't have an adoption because I've cultivated my own course materials. And so I don't know what message that says on the bookstore, on the campus store's website. Does it just say no required materials?
I think it's what students like to see more than any other. No text required is what it appears. Yeah.
And I send an email to my students a week before school saying, you might be freaking out looking for the book. There is no book. And usually I get, yay. So.
All right, thank you. I was just looking at the USI mobile app. So there is a button to the campus store, but it just takes you to the main website. So if you are on the mobile app, you can go to the campus store tab and click there, but that would be the way. So there isn't a specific way outside of the campus store to find your textbooks through the campus store. There's also another question. Who do we contact to get recommendations for laptops for the best specific programs? So again, are there any programs that are recommending specific tech materials? So I know, Cole, you had highlighted this a little bit before. So I guess, are there specific majors, or is there anybody that if they need a specific thing for like a pre-med program or marketing. You had mentioned the office suite, but is there anything else that students would necessarily need for a particular program?
Okay, so I think when it comes down to recommendations by major, please, I'd encourage you to reach out directly to me. I'm happy to provide those. You know, thankfully for the majority of areas of study at USI, there is not a strict recommendation of you have to have this machine or that machine to be successful within that program. One, because we're going to make sure we provide that on campus. So even like the engineering that definitely has the highest kind of expectation of a computer or what you're going to need hardware wise. Even then, there are engineering labs on campus that are fully outfitted to run all those specialty software packages. But we do have a very specific engineering configuration from Dell. Another school would definitely be the College of Nursing and Health Professions. That tends to be very Apple centric. There's a lot of Apple TVs in a lot of the classrooms over there. You'll see a lot of the faculty members actually teaching from iPads or using Macs in and around the classroom. And specifically the MacBook Air for our nursing and health profession students, as it tends to kind of be that sweet spot of horsepower and portability. And it's, you know, got an incredible battery life and is ultra lightweight.
Great, thank you.
And can I piggyback on something Cole said? Cole mentioned specifically the engineering labs that are outfitted with all the engineering software. And I do want to make sure that parents and students are aware that as we shift to online, if we would have to, but as we do after Thanksgiving, we have, IT has virtual access for certain classes to those specific labs and the software on those specific labs. So even if you no longer have access to the lab, you do, because we'll make sure that as a certain engineering student that needs those engineering lab softwares, that you have a virtual box that you can log into and get access to those. So
Thank you. And then Shannon, sticking with you, got to get back to my question. So do students have access to Blackboard classes now? If not, when should they expect to see it populate with their classes?
So students will not be populated into Blackboard until about 2 weeks before classes start, but their instructors have until the very first day of class to turn on their classes. So they'll be able to get into Blackboard a few weeks before school starts, but it may say you're not enrolled in any courses. That doesn't mean you're not enrolled in any courses. It just means no course shells have been made available for you to view yet. And usually instructors, especially in the fall semester, are working on those right up through the weekend. But I do know some of the RCOB, some of the College of Business professors in particular, like to turn on their classes like a week or two early. So it just depends. Anywhere from 2 weeks before school starts till the day of school starting.
Great, thank you. And then we had another question about Flex Money. Marina, can you talk about how you've used Flex Money, what it all covers, and how do you add money to your student ID to have Flex Money?
So I usually like to relate Flex Money to kind of like a credit card, but more so in the debit card way. So you will put money onto your card and you're able to utilize that at a few different things on campus. You can use it at food vending things, but it is taxed, which is different than Munch Money, because Munch Money is used specifically at food vendors, and which means that it won't get taxed there. So if you are utilizing money on campus and want to use your card, make sure to use Munch Money for food. But for Flex Money, you can use it for printing. That's typically what I usually use it for the most. And then I also live on campus, so you can use it for laundry on campus, which can be very nice. Basically, what you can do is if you go through the link that John sent in the email, you can upload money onto your card, and you'll have so much money to utilize and for printing and for laundry stuff. When I was a freshman, I actually did not know how much money to put on my card at first, so I put about $10 on just to see how much I would utilize. And that was probably a good starting point, so I could see if I needed to add more, if I needed more printing or more for laundry.
And then can you just highlight, so you touched on Munch Money. So what is Munch Money?
So Munch Money is non-taxed fake money. I'm using quotations there because it is actually real money. And that can be attached to either like a meal plan that you purchase, or you can actually upload Munch Money onto your student ID card. By the way, Flex Money and Munch Money is all through your student ID card. So all you have to do is swipe it at the different vending places. So Munch Money can be used at any of our food locations on campus. And like I said, it is non-tax, which you don't realize how much money you save until you don't have Munch Money. I ran into that this past year and was using my credit card and was realizing, oh, I could be saving a lot more money if I just put this money onto my Munch Money account. But you will get, with the meal plans, you will get a certain amount of Munch Money that you can utilize throughout the year. And Munch Money rolls over from the fall to the spring semester. So you'll have it, whatever money you have left over in the fall will be there when you return in the spring. However, it does not roll over from the spring to the fall. So after your freshman year, your sophomore year, you lose all that Munch Money. So you have to play a little bit of a game with it and seeing how much money you're actually going to use if you are not using a meal plan. So like for me personally, I don't have a meal plan and I upload Munch Money onto my account, and I'll upload about $50 at a time to see how much I use so that I'm not losing like $200 or $300 by the end of the year if I don't utilize it.
Thank you. All right. Mike, Shannon, or Cole, any last words as we wrap up tonight?
I don't think so. There have been some great questions. And I just encourage anybody, if you have any additional questions, again, about textbooks, technology, apparel, or you're not sure who to reach out to, don't hesitate to contact us in the campus store. We're happy to help.
And I put my email in there too. Anybody can email me or call me. I know a lot of stuff. I've been on this campus since 1994. So I might know where to send you to.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining. Oh, Mike, any last words?
Oh, no, thank you. It's been very nice being participating in this, and I appreciate it. And again, like Cole said, if anybody has questions, even if it's not related to the campus store, you need to know where to go somewhere, what to do, come in and ask us. We might know.
And welcome to USI.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody. We will have some upcoming virtual programs. So next Thursday, we have another program. I'm just pulling up what that topic is for next week. While I do that, we will be doing virtual Camp Eagle on August 7th and 8th. That's a great way for new students to meet other new students, do team building activities, and also learn about campus. So that is free to register. So that is going to be in the chat. And then next week will be Campus Life. So that's all about how to get involved on campus. So this is a great way so you can learn how to get involved with the different student affair offices across campus. So if you have any last questions, feel free to stay on the call. Otherwise, we thank you for joining us tonight, and we hope to see you at a future Zoom call. Take care. Does anybody have last questions for us?
Sorry, I was responding and I said I'll send you an email because they sent me their email.
Yeah.
So I'm good.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We'll see you soon. If you have questions, please reach out to these offices, and we'll see you at a future upcoming Zoom meeting. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye.